Though you may not drive a great big Cadillac, gangsta white walls, TV antennas in the back. You may not have a car at all, but remember, brothers and sisters, you can still stand tall. Just be thankful for what you got. Though you may not drive a great big Cadillac, diamond in the back, sun on the top, digging the scene with a gangster lady, gangster white boy.
People in the house, well, Firmament. Oh yeah, holla at your boy. People in the house, scream at me. People in the house, well, Firmament. Oh yeah, holla at your boy. People in the house, scream at me. Yeah, music that make you feel good. Neighborhood, hood, gully, roll through 'cause it's cool to boost the spirit. For the folks young and old and infants can hear it. Knowing the rap game is not the same, and still I came. Whoever killed Pocket Smalls, they're lame. Eric Sermon, learn my name. When I come to the spot with no security guards, it's me and the squad. I got love. A cat got checked by a fan holding me down. I got street respect. When true fans who don't believe in rumors, real consumers who love what I'm doing. That's why Superman, the beat don't bleed.
All right. Friday night, right back here. Factz Ova Feelingz, late edition. You ain't got nowhere to be except spend your weekend, kick it off with me. And that's why we're going to be up grown folks hours. That's right. If you got to be in bed by 12, well, it's time for you to go ahead and kiss everybody good night. Otherwise, go ahead and pull the blankets in tighter, turn the heat up if it's cold outside, or open the window if you need a breeze. Adjust your earpiece, and let's get ready for the second half in class number 7 of the Nephilim and the Pyramid of the Apocalypse. I now have to open up this session diving right in where y'all remember a couple of weeks ago when we talked about all praises to the Most High. I bid you shalom, welcome, no matter where you are in the world, whether you stayed up late or whether or not you trying to hang on because it's getting late, or if you out on the West Coast, kick back on the hammock watching the sky. So if you joining me, welcome. If you've been along with the series, you know what it is, but let me go ahead and dive into this. Y'all know I taught not too long ago about the number 7 and the significance of 7 when I did in the autographs his work. If you haven't seen when he autographs his work, can I have your autograph? That's available on YouTube. As a matter of fact, all of these sessions are now immediately available on YouTube channel because of the fact that they might disappear from here on Instagram. Part 1 is actually available from tonight, is already up on the YouTube channel if you haven't seen it. But when we talk about the Nephilim and we break down the bloodlines, and then we look at who survived the deluge and who was responsible for the return of the Nephilim, infusing themselves back into humanity and then upsetting the plan that Yah had for his own people, and then tying the gap of how that translated into the Egyptian dynasties and the civilizations they don't want to teach y'all about, which then leads us through the barbarianism that's been exacted upon the world by the wild man, the white man that came out of the Caucasus Mountains, that brings us up into the state of where we are today. And I have semi-fluid. I got to say this. I know y'all feel it like I do. We are now existing in what feels like an alternate reality. Don't y'all feel like we living in an alternate reality? Don't y'all feel like it's the same world that we always have known? I mean, it looked the same in some ways, But some things have changed. Things are flip-flopped. Everything's upside down. Everything that was right seems wrong. Everything that was wrong seems right. Things that people who seemed like they was at the bottom is at the top, and everybody at the top seemed to be falling to the bottom. Haven't y'all noticed that? Well, I got a theory. And remember, this is just everybody else putting forward theories. I'm going to put forth one of my own. But this is not a conspiracy. It's just a theory that I had. Today, and y'all know how I am about my friends. That's right, the ghetto ducks. Y'all know that the ghetto ducks are always in tune with whatever we're talking about here on Factz Ova Feelingz or the Morning Mental. They will make an appearance and they almost seem to sense, or y'all seen it. I'm not making this up. Ask somebody who's been with me for a while. You've seen how the animals act whenever we are breaking the bread of Yah's word, and we're all learning together and we're all learning things, and y'all are getting enlightened, and all of this spiritual energy is rising, and all of a sudden the nation, the ancestral energy starts to rise. Even the animals start to act right. I'm not making this up. Ask anybody who's been here. So y'all know the other night when I told y'all about all the ducks that showed up on the lake in the dark, that weren't talking, they wasn't making a sound. I didn't even know they was there until I felt like something or someone was watching me, and I turned around and there were more ducks than I've ever seen on the lake. I don't know where all these damn ducks came from. It looked like a duck convention. They was all out there. And they were looking, and they was facing me. And when I raised my arms, they started to come near me. I'm a bro. I don't stick around. I mean, I'm not trying to be the guy in the movie. Oh, and they come and take me away. Hell no. Once they started coming my way, I seen enough. I'm impressed. Y'all, you ain't got to do that much of me. Ducks coming. They don't talk. I don't want to find out what they got to say. I got it. Y'all good. That was good. I'm out. So you can imagine, because I keep an eye on the habits of the ducks, that when I saw this article, it struck me as odd, but it gave me an idea that I want to share with my smart people. A man in Canada photographed today and filmed a flock of geese and ducks and so forth, and they were in the formation. Y'all know the formation, right? This time of year, that's nothing new for him to see. He's been watching them for years. Just one small problem. Instead of heading south, they were heading north. Y'all still ain't put it together. They were in formation, like they always get in formation. And they were following the leader. And the leader is the one who has the developed sense of magnetism. It can tune into the magnetic fields of the earth and orient. That's how animals migrate. They can sense. They think about that. They have particles in their brain that in tune, that can be pulled on by the magnetism of the earth. Ain't he wonderful how he designs his creatures? And they follow the magnetic field where we're flying the wrong way. The man knew that there was something wrong with this. He says he's been watching them for 30 years. So he filmed it. Yes, he did. And he also got pictures. When scientists saw this, they didn't know what to say. Well, you know what? Of course they wouldn't know what to say, because they don't read Zachariah Stitchen's books. They don't read Behold the Pale Horse. They don't read any of the ancient Egyptian tablets. They don't read any of that. They read what makes them feel comfortable. You wouldn't have to be an Einstein to realize that the magnetic poles on this planet have shifted. They flipped, and these idiots ain't said nothing about it. The birds just proved that, yeah, they're flying south all right, because the South Pole is now in the North Pole. I know that sounds crazy, but that's exactly how else you going to explain that? Now comes my theory. If we are energy beings, and we are, if the soul is nothing but living energy that can never be destroyed, and it appears we are, if the Kodash Madakims, all of the fallen angels are spiritual beings based on energy also, and it appears they are. Energy runs in a polarity, meaning it runs in a current. Okay, it runs, that's energy. Energy is always in motion. It's always a frequency. It runs in a certain current. If you reverse the polarity, you reverse the current. Oh God, y'all not understanding this. If the magnetic fields of the earth flipped, They always said it would kill us. Well, why? Why would it kill us? Because your system, your body, even your mind is attuned to the magnetic field of the earth, which means that if it's going in a certain direction, you're going in that direction too. That means that everything that affects you on this planet is affecting you because of the direction of the magnetic field. If the field has reversed, then the energy has reversed. Now you know why everything seems like it's upside down. Now all of a sudden you see why people are suddenly becoming things that they weren't before. Now you're seeing why all of a sudden animals are dropping dead out of the sky because they can't focus on the magnetic field. It's killing them. It has reversed, but they're not going to tell y'all that. Think about it. I told you what somebody wrote the other day. They said, whoever you are right now, this is everyone listening to me, whoever you are right now, you would not be that person if it was not for what? The pandemic and the quarantine. Now, if the electric fields reverse during that time, that means that the people who went in the house are not the same people who came out the house. And maybe they knew that. Maybe that's why they faked the whole thing so they could put your ass in the house, because they didn't know what was going to happen. They didn't know if people was going to go crazy. For all you know, all these COVID-19 deaths that happen are not being caused by anything other than the fact that all of us cannot survive a polar flip like that. Some of us got migraines. They never had migraines. Some of us got headaches. All kind of crazy shit is happening. I know this sounds crazy to y'all, but look around you. This is the kind of critical thinking that you have to be able to do and figure out on your own, because the clues are all around you. Y'all talking about 5G gonna do this to me. Somebody told me today that their grandfather's pacemaker sorted out for no reason. Oh, it must be 5G. How about the magnetic poles have flipped and they haven't told y'all? The same way they didn't talk about the fact that, are you aware that the earth is passing through a debris field right now? Yeah, they let that story leak today too, because there's a picture. Apparently there was a meteor, not the one that we waiting on for election day, but another one that came flying through. And when they took the picture of the meteor, they could see the debris field. They said they didn't even know we were flying through a debris field. If you don't know we flying through a debris field, then maybe you don't know why the sky is red. If you don't know we flying through a debris field, then maybe you can't tell us what the hell that is in the northeastern sky that keeps shooting rays up at sunrise and sunset. Because some shit we can figure out for ourselves, because he said, I will give you signs and wonders in the sky. Watch the sky. I'm gonna answer a question that somebody, one of my viewers wrote. He said, and he's trying to get clarification, so don't y'all jump all over the young man. But the question he asked was, he says, well, if the firmament is above us, and it is, and the firmament is holding back water or whatever it's holding back, the gates of heaven, whatever. Where do meteors come from? And where's all that stuff coming from? Again, it tells me that, my friend, you need to go study the book of Enoch when he got the tour all the way from the house of worship to the throne of Yahweh, all the way down through the 10 heavens, all the way down under the firmament. And you would see how big it is. The mechanics of the firmament. Remember, the luminaries come through 6 gates on 6 sides, and it moves according to the seasons. Whether you believe we're under a dome or on a globe, it doesn't make a difference. There's no getting off of this thing. They've been trying to get off of this thing forever. Nobody's going nowhere. You ever notice on TV, the rocket don't do this, the rocket do that? You know why? Because ain't nobody going no damn where. You can call it what you want. You can call it a diamond. You can call it a shoebox. You can call it the little, what's the thing? Trouble. You pop up with the dice inside. Ain't nobody going nowhere. I told you this is a classroom, and you can't leave like that, even though that was expected. Additionally, let me share this with you also. I love how they bury these stories and people like us got to dig the shit back up. But back in the 50s, they had a situation in Antarctica where they found what looked like this beautiful blue glass on the ice. And when they tried to touch it, it didn't feel like glass. It felt like ice, but not ice of water. They tested it and it was pure oxygen, purer than anything on earth. Matter of fact, it was so pure that it was actually oxygen in a glass state, and it was harder than anything that they had ever seen before. The interesting thing was when they brought it down to earth, it reached room temperature and it dissolved into oxygen. So they have no proof that it existed. But they photographed it and said that it was the hardest thing. And they said it is what fell from the sky. If the firmament is composed of a different version of oxygen in a way that we've never seen it, and that is what's holding back all the waters that are above us, then think about this for 2 seconds. You think that the Creator put you here for you to get away and for you not to figure out what the hell is going on, because only the strong are going to survive, y'all. I'm just keeping it 100 with you. The Nephilim and the pyramid of the apocalypse now begins to shift our discussion to the apocalypse themselves, but not before I break down a 7 for you. We spend so much time on the Nephilim. A lot of y'all don't even realize that there were 7 nations. That's right. 7 nations. You see, when you start talking about all of these ites, like the Canaanites and the Amorites and the Girgashites and the Hittites and the Hivites and the Jebusites and the Perizzites, all these ites, who were these ites? And where did these ites come from? That's what you start to wonder. And I start wondering that too. So I began to say, well, wait a minute. When we start trying to figure out who the Nephilim was that was living in the land, because I thought the brothers and sisters had that land first. You see, this is where we get the scattering of the 12 tribes confused, because the 7 nations, and in Hebrew, that's the Shevat Hamim. Those are 7 nations according to the Hebrew Bible. They lived in the land of Canaan prior to the arrival of the Israelites. Now, Yahweh instructed the Israelites to destroy these 7 nations when they got to Canaan. God told them, when you get to this place, you got to kill every last one of them. What creatures do you think he was telling them to kill? Who was the only group of people that were a detriment to his master plan to bring the Messiah forward? It would be the giants. It would be the children of the Nephilim. So he sent the Israelites in to kill them. And he said it, kill all of them, all 7 nations. And the meaning and implication of these verses in historical texts, a lot of people talk about it. But those 7 nations were all descendants of Canaan. Who was Canaan? Canaan was the son of Ham, and Ham was the grandson of Noah. And that's where we get this collective of the Canaanites. So when you start talking about any of the 7 nations, and I'm teaching right here, any of those 7 nations, while the others was called the Amorites, the Girgashites, the Hittites, the Hivites, the Jebusites, and there was all still coming out of the same group. So now you have to ask yourself, so what are you saying? Are you saying that? I'm saying that the Nephilim, remember Canaan, the word they were described as what we call the Anakim. This is getting real close, ain't it? The Anakim. The Anakim were described as a race of giants descended from Anak. That's in the Old Testament. And they were said to have lived in the southern part of the land of Canaan. So if you have people who were there, and then the Nephilim showed up, and the Nephilim were known to eat people, do you think everybody stayed there? No, we need to move over here, because they can have that until such a time as you see y'all finally came like, no, y'all got to stop all this running. Y'all got to go back in there and take that. Matter of fact, y'all ain't even putting the story together. Let me help you out. While they were being slaves in Egypt, while they were enslaved in Egypt, the Nephilim was over here multiplying and having a ball. Yah had already made up his mind. I'm going to get rid of y'all ass, and the people I need to do it, they over here slaves. I got to free them first. Don't y'all see the bigger picture? He didn't just show up talking about, let my people go. For what? When he's wiped out entire races at the whim of his breath. No, I need them for something. They had grown to such a considerable size. They were a considerable fighting force. So he brought Moses forward, if you want to believe in that piece of the story, as simplified as it is, to bring those people out of bondage so that he could send them in to wipe out all of the Nephilim. That's why they won't teach you about the Nephilim. It changes the whole story. Y'all aren't descendants of these broken people. Y'all descendants of a hit squad. Now you see why they so afraid of the NFAC, because they like, oh no, they back again. That's right. So that's funny to think though. We descendants of a hit squad. He freed us up out of bondage so we could go down here and take care of the Nephilim because his boy went down there and had him create these creatures that messed up his plan. He says, okay, no problem. I'm going to choose this group right here. That's why you're the chosen ones. You was chosen for this job. I'm simplifying something that they hide from you every day. Yeah, you chosen all right because you chosen to do that work. Now comes the fun part. Because people say, well, where they at? We here. Where they at? Look around you. Their descendants are all around you. Why do you think they hate you so much? Why? Do you really think it's just the color of your skin? No. They hate you because of your very existence, because they know exactly what you are. And the funny part about it is they know that you don't know what you are. And what's funnier is you don't know what they are. You really believe that these people around you are just like you, but they treat you like anything but you. And then you wonder how we go from the Nephilim to the pyramid to the apocalypse. It is inevitable, but only if you wake up and stop living in a dream world. I know it's hard to believe. You're living in the aftermath of genetic manipulation, genetic experimentation, genetic creation. You're living in the aftermath of it. Well, don't take it too tough, kid, because things could be worse. You could find out that you're looking in the wrong place. You see, Egypt was supposed to be located at the mouth of two great rivers. That's what they told you, right? But there's a place in America called Little Egypt down in southern Illinois that actually sits at the mouth of two great rivers. Ironically enough, X marks the spot. It is the center of totality for the great eclipse of August 21st of 2017. And it's going to be ground zero again for the second great eclipse that happens in April of 2024. 7 years later, X marks the spot. Interesting. It is written in scripture that I will go down to the valley of Hothaphat and I will put you on trial for what you did to my people and how you divided up my land and scattered my people to the wind. He said that. So why is he marking this spot in America if everything is supposed to have happened in Northern Africa? Because Northern Africa plays another part in the story. And that's where we have to dig into Enki and Elul and Anu. And that's where we have to dig into the Anunnaki, because the Anunnaki played a piece in the story, but they are not the story. See, people get these two things confused. I got to separate this right now. The same way, look, let's just go ahead and clear up some misconceptions because y'all walking around thinking the wrong shit. First of all, let's break it down for the people who don't take time to listen and you've been hearing all this crazy stuff. Let's deal with facts. Number one, every star in the solar, in the galaxy is a binary star. There are always two. That's nothing new. The average star has a twin. Every star has a twin. Funny part is we've always seen the sun. So that's our star. But every star has a twin. And ancient scripture teaches us, ancient writings teach us, even the Sumerians teach us that there is another star that comes through every now and then. It's a binary star system. And that this star system has a few planets around it. Not like us, 9, 12, 10, just a little star system, 2, 3, it's just a small star. It ain't a big deal. This ain't no gigantic balling out of control system. It's a little system. But there's just one small problem with this system. This system has 3 planets. And one of them is 9 times bigger than we are. And this big motherfucker just going around, this motherfucker, just spinning around with him. Now, since it's a binary star system, they rotate around each other. Every now and then, when they come together, their systems are going to overlap. And that's where the problem comes in. Because when they overlap and they crisscross, well, when you're that big, you have a gravitational pull that you pull on everything. And something's been pulling on everything, but I'm just telling y'all what scientific fact says. This is what the ancient scriptures talk about, the planet of the crossing, whatever it is. I'm not saying that you can go out and see it right now, even though there's some weird shit in the sky. But all of this is tied into the Anunnaki because it is told in the Gilgamesh epic and everything that whoever these beings are, also created by the same creator that created us, okay, created everything, that they came here for a reason, that their planet was, this is the story. I don't look at me. I'm just repeating what you can already go find for yourself, that their planet was dying. Something was happening with the atmosphere and they needed gold. They needed gold dust to spray in their atmosphere. And isn't it ironic they're spraying our atmospheres right now? And that's what they came here for. And when they came here, they landed in Northern Africa. And when they got there, they found out that the work was too hard. They didn't want to do damn work. So listen to this. So they genetically created us. This is what the story says. This is thousands of years ago. This ain't science fiction in Hollywood. This is what these people wrote down. Now, when we listen to it, it sounds crazy to us because we're sitting here looking at it like, how the hell can this be true? Because if it was true, what happened to y'all? Why did you get wiped out? If you could do that, what did you run up against that wiped you out? That's why you got to tie all of the different pieces of the story together. Nothing is happening independently. You're looking at the pieces of a bigger story. And remember, like I told y'all at the beginning of the Nephilim and the Pyramid of the Apocalypse, who's behind everything? Chess, not checkers. Moves. And an adversary. They used to be his boy. Used to be his right-hand man. Used to be his road dog. This is them going at it. And we just caught up in the middle of it. You got to play your position. It's all connected. So now we find ourselves in a situation where you realize that between this manipulation, they created a race. And that race was supposed to serve them, if you believe that story. Now, does the story make sense? It does if you acknowledge one thing, that the two beings that we're talking about were not human. They were Nephilim. And everything that they birthed would have been a Nephilim. And that's why that region became populated with the Nephilim. And all of us that are descendants of the 12 tribes gave up that land until we came back and killed them. Whose brother is this? Well, there's only one last question we need to answer as we're about to pull up on part 8 of the Nephilim and the Pyramid of the Apocalypse. How does all of that figure into today? Who's really who? And where did certain groups come from? Just based on the history of the bloodline of the Nephilim, because that'll tell you, the children of the elect, what side of the fence you sit on. So when shit goes south, you won't have to worry about anything, because it is written that even when the destruction comes, that the elect will be saved. Doesn't mean you're going to get swept up in the rapture. Y'all stop and believing in that shit. You're spiritual beings. You are not flesh. So your spirits will survive, no matter what form they may take. And when this quote unquote new city comes down, because the real gist of the whole story is you cannot believe in the pyramids unless you can believe in the fact that they exist in the current state that they do, and that they're aligned mathematically in such a way that even with today's technology, we couldn't rebuild them. So who did? You say that Africa was black, so that would mean that black people did it. But that burns up the white racists, the ones that popped up 5,000-6,000 years ago. They can't stand to hear that, so they're trying to say with aliens and shit. Anything but to give credit to black people. But if you do further research, you don't have to give it to black people. You find out there's another race that you don't talk about no more. There's another group of people that you're trying to ease up out of history. There's things in the museum you don't want people to see no more. You don't want people to realize that at one time there was another race on this planet. And they weren't exactly the kind of people that you could go tell to get the hell out your face, because they were 10 times bigger than you and they eat your ass. Not to mention they were half human and half demonic, which validates the fact that yes, Yah does exist, and everything that's in that, what you think is a fairy tale, is true, which means we should all be paying much more attention to the signs in the skies. So then whatever the hell that is that's been trying to peek over the top of the sun for the last 3 days and justify scripture, remember what it says. And every eye shall see me as a blinding bolt of light, for he cometh in the clouds. Okay. Everybody gonna be standing around with their phones in there talking about, oh, I can't believe this is amazing. Really? Not I, said the blind man. Now, If that's true, and I'm kind of leaning toward it is, then we arrive at one very sad and inescapable conclusion about the Nephilim and the pyramid of the apocalypse, what the pyramid truly is and what they were trying to achieve when they built it, and what it says about our current state and what's about to happen here on this place that we call Earth. If the magnetic poles have reversed and we're living in a reverse polarity world, that makes sense. That's our alternate reality. That's why everything feels backwards. But then I wonder how that translates down through the tribes. Don't make me break down the tribes. People always say, well, we know the 12 tribes. What do you mean? See, all of us, even if you come from one of the 12 tribes, doesn't mean you come from within the 12 tribes. Look, okay, you got Jacob, right? Then you got Reuben, you got Simeon, you got Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Dan, Naphtali, Manasseh, Ephraim, Benjamin, Gad, and Asher. So you got all of those. So everybody knows that. But if I take Judah, and here's why. Let's say they say the tribe of Judah is in the United States, right? So everybody in the United States gets amped up. I'm tribe of Judah. But y'all don't act like all y'all from the same tribe. Y'all act like y'all can't get along with each other. Some of y'all just by nature can't stand each other. Well, maybe that's because if you broke down Judah, you didn't know that it then breaks down even further in Tamara and Orion and Shelah and Zerah and Perez, and then they break even further down into Huron and to Hanud. So there are subdivisions of the tribe that broke down even further, which means that you can be from the same umbrella top of the tribe, but y'all can still be, now that y'all can be at odds with each other. Because that's just the division that it's taken. You have to understand how deep they divided. Look at Levi. Levi, if you go down to Kanath, then Kanath goes down to Izhar. Izhar would take you down to Korah. Korah would take you down to Elkanah, and it keeps going. It's like an umbrella on top of umbrella. But if you go down to Gershon, Gershon only goes down as far as Libni and Shemel and Amram. It doesn't go any further than that. But if you really want to go deep, then you can go through Kanab, drop down through Hebron, through Ishtar, then come down to Naphric, Sethri, Asir, Elkanah, and Asbah. All of those are sub-tribes. Just to give you an idea of the genealogy of the bloodlines. Now, somewhere mixed up in all of that lineage, that Hebrew lineage, there might be some Nephilim blood. And that's our problem. And someone raised a very good question. They said, how much of the 12 tribe blood has been infiltrated by the Nephilim? And if not by the Nephilim, how do they manifest themselves amongst humans now? Because there's a certain group of people that act just like Nephilim. I'll let you figure that part out. Tomorrow night, we get into the last episode. We bring it all home. And we get to break out the judge robe, because we're going to have to pass a verdict based on all of the empirical evidence that we have heard tonight, whether or not the final conclusion that is put forth in the Nephilim and the pyramid of the apocalypse is true, or whether or not this is all some crazy conspiracy theory and we all just need to get over it and calm down. I don't know about all of that. Y'all join me back here tomorrow night and we will finish up. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. Not tomorrow night. Oh, we're going to do it Monday? Monday. Okay. Change 101. We're going to do the last class on Monday night at 8:30. Monday night, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Okay. We're going to do it Monday night. There's something else going on. I'm ahead of myself. I'm just following instructions. But Monday night, the final class of the Nephilim and the pyramid of the apocalypse. And we will be done with this book, and another one in the can. All the lessons will be up on YouTube for you to peruse. And then we're going to get back to this whole business of nation building, and all y'all that's been running around looking for this goddamn documentation. We're going to pull this out and give it to everybody once and for all. That's the next thing as we prepare for the Million Guns Formation. Don't y'all know that we got people from around the world calling saying, I want to be a part of this. We can get 1 million people here. We can get 1 million people there. And we're going to shake the earth in the spring of 2021. Damn social distancing. Social distancing ain't helping us the same way police ain't helping us. So we don't want to hear that right about now. What we do want you to do is for you to enjoy your weekend. I want you to stay safe. And remember something else. Don't let somebody have you come down to their level because they're a lower vibration person and you know you're a high vibration person. Don't be that type of individual. You don't have to. You are the chosen one. And somebody out here is having a love affair with you that I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to always be the voice to help you get to your next stop. Because remember, we're family even when we're in the valleys as well as when we're on the mountaintop. To all the young queens and young kings, stay safe. Watch each other's back. Learn about guns from a good point of view. Don't learn about guns from being the bad guy. Learn your rights. Listen, don't turn your back when you see the police engage in one of your own. Y'all supposed to be kids, stick together. Y'all stick together on everything else. And that's for my brothers and sisters out there in the street. Sisters, I know a lot of y'all standing strong. Get yourself a weapon, learn, arm yourself, and watch your back. They doing stuff now. I heard today they shot some kids up in Waukegan, which is north of Chicago, and that the kids were just sitting in the car. I don't know the whole story. I'm still waiting on the facts. But we got to start looking out for each other. I'm not saying that we ain't doing it. I'm seeing it right now. Everybody strapping up. That's a beautiful thing. I seen people patrolling their neighborhood the other day. I seen a guy get ran out of a neighborhood because he was just standing in front of somebody's house. People starting to get it. But we need more of this. We need more of this. And as we get ready for this crazy ass election, don't y'all get out there in the street and start letting them pull you into that bullshit ass conversation like we're going to be out here shooting motherfuckers in the street. If my man don't want to leave office, there's enough federal agencies to take his ass up out of there. We ain't gonna we the last ones that they gonna be worrying about if he don't leave office. Because trust me, there's people in the military, in the government that want that motherfucker gone too. And if he don't get his ass up out of there, yeah, it's gonna be some shit, but it ain't gonna be us. We the last resort. You think people on the street with guns is they what they worry about? Cousin, you might be the commander in chief only as long as you're giving lawful orders, not giving unlawful orders. And for you to stay in office past the time that the people have pursued the appropriate procedures to remove you and you ain't going nowhere, remember the oath to defend this country against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And you would be termed a domestic enemy. Best I can tell you. Okay, that's my word tonight. Y'all have a good night. It's a little bit after midnight. I bid you good morning on the East Coast, but for everybody on the West Coast, I bid y'all a good evening. And everybody on the other side of the globe, please continue to keep Nigeria in your thoughts and think about it. They don't need your prayers. They need guns. And I'm ashamed of the United States for not denouncing what's happening over there and mainstream media for continuing to ignore it like it's not happening. It's a damn shame. It is a damn shame. I'm Grandmaster Jay. Factz Ova Feelingz. Y'all stay strong, stay black. United Black Committed Nation salute you. In fact, for life. Shalom.
Who harder than me? 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 Got a question for the street. Who harder than me? Who harder than me, nigga?